Welcome to Palace Playland on the shores of the Atlantic Ocean in Old Orchard Beach, Maine. What you're looking at is the Palace Playland Arcade, which is advertised as the oldest and largest arcade in New England. The park itself is the only beachfront amusement park in New England. And what we're going to do is just take a sweep through in a sort of clockwise motion. Old Orchard Beach is a really popular spot. Lots of stuff happening. You can see all the shops there. There's lots of food places. There's the pier off to the left, which has a lot of stuff. We're going to start over here at the carousel. Now, there is no admission charge to the park. You can just buy tickets for each ride, or you can buy a wristband if you want. You could also get a season pass, which is not cheap, but you could get one. This is a really nice menagerie carousel. It's fiberglass, of course. It replaced a Philadelphia Toboggan Company vintage carousel from 1910. The park is been around a long time. 1902 is when this park started up. You can see the Ferris wheel over there on the left. Lots of game concessions all along here, of course. There's a fun house, the Grand Orient Palace, which reminded me sort of the old one that used to be at Trimper's in New Jersey. And you can see there are just regular game booths that you'd see at a carnival. There's one of the ticket booths. There are several of them scattered around. There's another view of the fun house. In front of us is the bumper car building. And there's a nice lighted sign at the back that actually says Dodgems. In front of us you see the Matterhorn. On the right is the other side of the Palace Playland Arcade. They advertise it as having pinball machines, but I didn't see any in there. There's that wonderful flashing Dodgem sign. And the coaster that you see at the end is Sea Viper. That's a fairly new addition to the park. It replaced a Galaxy. And I really wanted to ride it when I was there, but as has been my track record so far this year, the ride was closed. So, no coaster credit for me. And there you can see, you can walk right out onto the beach if you wanted to. You can see the ocean in the distance. And over on the left, there's a slide, slushies, there's a little frog hopper. So a lot of rides here for kids, of course, as you would expect. And some teen thrill rides. Not a lot of adult rides, things that families can do together. Unless, you have parents who are into spin and barf rides, then there are plenty of those, like that one. And notice over on the left there's a Wisdom Kiddie coaster called Orient Express. And that's a nice location because it's right at the edge of the park overlooking the ocean. I was curious why Sea Viper is oriented that way with the back end of the coaster facing the ocean. I thought it'd be more thrilling to go up the lift hill looking out onto the ocean. And now we'll head over to the west end of the park. There's a Wipeout, which is a sort of mini spinning coaster. The park prides itself on catering to both Americans and Canadians. You'll notice there are several signs in the park that are both in French and in English. And again, more kiddie rides filling up this side of the center of the midway. It's essentially a giant parking lot with rides in it. There's a Kiddie Jets ride themed to Dumbo. I assume Disney hasn't caught wind of that yet. There's a really nice wave swinger over there. And you can see the pirate ship coming up. And we're going to cross a road here. Obviously, the road doesn't really go anywhere because to the right would be the beach. But it is a road. So you got to look both ways at the crosswalk. And that brings us back to the Dodgems. And there's a little bit more of the park, so we're going to cut through on the left here, where the Matterhorn was that we could see in the distance. And this is really the sort of formal entryway that most people use to get into the park. You can see a tilt-a-whirl, and I thought it was interesting. This is the first tilt-a-whirl I've seen that doesn't have the clamshell backs to it. And there's a small drop tower. And the last ride on this stretch over here on the left is the Superstar, which is a tried and true spin and barf ride. And that's really just about it for the park. It isn't a huge park by any means, but if you're in the area and you have little kids or you have teens and they want something to do for the day, this isn't a bad place to come. It's fairly reasonably priced. And there's lots of food in the area, plus there's the ocean, of course. They also have veggie burgers here, which I appreciated. So if you're in the Saco, Maine area, or Old Orchard Beach, or the Ogunquit area, this is a short drive from there, you can find some fun and a little bit of history at Palace Playland in Old Orchard Beach in Maine.